Super excited on this episode of the podcast. Those of you who follow me, those of you that have been to the resources page of my website know of Seth Mosley. He's a hit songwriter consistently. We'll talk about that a little bit. He's won Grammys as a producer, just got back from the Grammys. But one of the things that he is day in and day out is he's still a creative, just like you. And with everything that you guys have going on right now, I wanted to talk to him to see what he's doing during this time in order to stay creative, how he's doing his collaborations and things like that. So for those, Seth, that are just meeting you for the first time, first off, thanks for doing this. Tell them a little bit about you, your background, and then we'll kind of focus in on what you're doing now. And then I'm going to invite everyone to head to my website, because you and I did a sit down not too long ago that has been very valuable for a lot of people on, what it takes to consistently write hit songs. But tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Seth Mosley. Appreciate you having me on. I love your podcast. I'm a fan of everything you do. You could call me a Rick Barker super fan. That's appropriate. So thank you for what you do for musicians out there.
My pleasure.
So I'm a music producer, songwriter, had the privilege of winning Grammys, Doves, Juno Awards, CSAC Awards. I've had over 28 number ones. And that has been a part of all those hit songs has afforded me the privilege of starting my own music company called Full Circle Music. Part of that is a publishing company. Part of it is we're producing records, production house. And then the other part is an academy, which was kind of what we connected over. And I just have a heart for teaching and giving back to the next generation. And I just know what the power of songs has done for my life. So I love seeing the light bulbs go off for other people when they write a song. They understand that, yes, there actually are formulas to this. You don't just randomly show up, not know what you're doing, and fart out a hit. That's just not how.
When did you figure that out, though? Because, you're like me every day in your Instagram, whatever. Listen to this song and tell me what you think about it. Then you listen to it and you're like, man, I remember when that was me. Yeah. So when did you kind of understand that there is a formula?
You know what? I think it was when I started coming down to Nashville when I was 17 or 18, and I started co-writing. I started co-writing with pros who do this day in and day out. I didn't even know co-writing was a thing, but I came right down here, down to Sony, and was writing with people who've been doing this for years and years and years. And as fast as they were doing it, like we were coming out with 3 songs a day. And I'm like, there's no way you can do this if there's not some framework to it. So the reality is the longer you do it, you kind of learn it instinctively. But for most people, it can take, a decade or so to figure that out. So that's what I've tried to do, is reverse engineer it and figure out what are the formulas, what are the things that happen in every hit song. And believe it or not, there are things that happen in pretty much every song, regardless of what genre it is.
And we talk about this in the video that I'm going to give you guys access to. If you're just listening to this in the car or whatever, just go to rickbarker.com, click on the resources tab, and you're going to find that conversation with Seth and I. So, when you started doing this, were you just sitting there going, okay, I have to write the best Christian song today, I have to write the best country song? Or do you just go into it and say, we're just going to write the best song and it'll kind of fit where it's supposed to fit?
Where I'm at in my career right now, I'm doing a lot of stuff in different genres, but what I say to people at the beginning is you really have to find a lane, pick a lane, and study that lane, be immersed in that lane inside and out. So you can't be going after being the next big pop songwriter and the next best country songwriter at the same time. You kind of have to pick a lane and stick to it.
So if you were advising someone today, so if someone came in, minimal resources, and they said, listen, I want to write pop, how would you suggest they start studying? How would you suggest that they start becoming a student of pop? Is it going to lyrics.com and printing them off and seeing what the structure is? Is it listening? Because I heard Shane McAnally say this on Songtown the other day, which I'm a huge fan of that show. And he said, he told the girl that he was writing with, he said, everything you have right now sounds current, and that's bad. because by the time it comes out, it will be old. Elaborate on that a little bit. I know you're not Shane, but I know you know who he is, and you talk to a lot of different writers inside of your course. You have all these writers from all these different genres. What does that mean, and how do you fix that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned Shane. We have some inside information from Shane in the course, actually. And the thing that I've learned about that is, yes, you want to be current, but you also want to be thinking a little bit a step ahead. Like, you don't just want to be copying what's out there. You want to be doing something that's familiar, because a big part of what makes a hit is this element of familiarity. Like, it has to be in the ballpark. I think that a great way to say it is be the same but different.
Now, do you do that lyrically? Do you do that production-wise? I'm just asking questions. So
no, all of the above. I think your production, like, if you want to be the next big country writer, you need to listen to country radio, because singles are really the only way that, you know, anymore, as far as just if you want to be a career songwriter, like, speaking to artists and musicians, radio does not have to be, and probably won't be, a part of your path for the first, 9/10 of your career. But if you're strictly, wanting to play a part in that as a songwriter, then yeah, you've got to listen to what's on the radio. And so, listen to what the production's doing. There's definitely trends. Like, in the last few years, I mean, production has kind of been going back towards a more organic sound in the country thing. It went kind of that bro country for a while, a lot of program stuff. Now it's going back to organic. Lyrically, what are people doing? There's a lot less metaphor now and a lot more just literal, like coming out and just saying, if you feel something, you just say it. It's like you're writing your journal and you just open the page and that's the song lyric. And melodically, you got to pay attention to that too. Are they doing a lot of monotone stuff now? Are they doing a lot of stuff where it's very rangy? I mean, right now in country, it's a lot of rapid fire stuff where it's almost could be a rap song.
Right.
If you change the beat and we're just rapping or just singing it without notes. So you got to pay attention to all of those things, and they're always changing. So I could tell you what the things are today, and they're going to be different 6 months from now, but you really got to learn to analyze and be a student of the format that you want to work in.
And when let's talk pop for a second, because for a while everything featured, for a while it was, you had to throw Cardi on it, you had to throw Iggy, you had to throw, for a while, every song you heard had Pitbull on it. And now you're not hearing that as much. Matter of fact, you're starting to hear multiple features in pop, when before it was an artist feature or DJ feature, and now it's multiple people being featured on these songs. So is that where you kind of look at it and said, okay, that was cool that people were featuring one or the other. Why don't we try it with 2 guys and a girl, or 2 pop singers and a rapper? Is that what people are doing when they say, let's try something different and see if we can kind of get ahead of the curve?
Well, the pop world has been ahead of, and really the hip hop world before any of this, they've been ahead of country and Christian and all the other genres in terms of understanding the power of features and collaborations, is that you can share audiences. And that's how Spotify works. If you have, Future and Drake on a song, that song is going to show up on each of their Spotifys when it comes out. So you're capturing a potential of twice the audience. And, this is like in marketing world, like, people understand that, like affiliates and that kind of stuff. Yep. But in pop music, it's such a powerful thing. And I think it also it keeps things interesting. Like, people, I think, have a really short attention span now. So, like, the fact that, hey, I'm going to listen to, St. John for 30 seconds, and I'm going to listen to Immenbeck for 30 seconds after that. And it's more in line with how people are consuming music on TikTok or whatever.
Sure. So I have a guy, I work with a band. They're part of my management team, 2 different guys. So one of them, they're getting lots of placements. They were on Major League Baseball. They have this song called Born Ready, and it's very Imagine Dragon kind of sound. And then all of a sudden, in walks this rapper into our world. And I'm like, what if we were to take Born Ready, which is a song that's established itself, it's been in the Olympics, Major League Baseball, Women's FIFA's World Cup, and we gave it new life by then adding this feature rap on it. and they were like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. How often would you suggest, and this is once again me making it up, not being a songwriter, asking you to maybe go back, because a lot of people have these catalogs and the songs are old to them, but they're new to the person who's discovering it today, or the person that's finding it today. How often would you suggest, because in your course, you also consult all these other writers, how often do you have them go back and look at old material and say, you know what, that maybe didn't work 3 years ago, but you know what, that could work now. That could work, because you always hear people, I was way ahead of the curve, or I was bro country before country was bro, or what? How would you recommend they go back and do like an inventory of their past catalog?
Well, I would say it's less of you just going through and seeing what do you feel like doing. And I would say it's more of what is connecting. Like, let's take Tequila is a really big song from Dan and Shay. Once that started working, they started sending it around to everybody. And they got, you know, an acoustic version. They got a Robin Schultz remix. There's an a cappella version where it's literally only the vocals. There's a version that's like literally only the piano. There's a whole release that had 5 different DJs remixing it.
Oh, wow.
And those all add up to the same. That's how you can go gold nowadays, or platinum or double platinum or whatever.
Sure.
And so I wouldn't just haphazardly go about and say, oh, I like that song, it would be cool with the rapper. I would go, what are the songs that are connecting? You know, let's say you put out a song, it gets put on a playlist, it does well on that playlist, you hit 150,000 streams or 300,000 streams or 1 million streams. Those would be the points when you'd want to start thinking about, okay, well, let's put out a let's put out a version that could get us into a different lane than we're currently in. So that's where adding the rap feature could get you on some different rap playlists if it's a well-known rapper, or at least a decently known rapper. I mean, you could do the same thing with, go make a piano only version of it, and you get on
the coffee house playlist or whatever. Okay, exactly. So that's the strategy, is to say, okay, you've got a proven hit. And hit's relative, guys. Hit's relative to some people. Everyone has a hit. Everyone always tells me, dude, I got the next banger. I got the next hit. And I'm like, okay, so the hit will determine itself. But if something's starting to get some traction and you want to extend the life of something that's proven, you're saying possibly go in and, you know, if you go, you could even go in and start muting stuff in the session if you have the ability to do that, right?
We do this all the time. Labels are now hiring us to do this with songs that have done well. They request like 5 versions of it. So sometimes we'll have to add extra instrumentation or replace stuff, but a lot of the times you can literally just mute stuff and make like a more stripped down version.
Okay, I don't know if you'll have the answer to this question, but I get asked a lot, being that you're a writer and a publisher and things like that. If someone wanted to take a song that you created and they wanted to remix it, or they wanted to, what are the legalities of remixing someone else's song?
Well, it would count as a derivative work. And so basically at that point, it would be up to the rights holder what they want to give you. So you got to be able to negotiate it with them. So if you wanted to do like Tequila per se, you'd have to talk to their publisher. And if they wanted to give you, like, they could legally take 99% of it if they wanted to, but if you're doing something really cool that they like, they'll probably play ball with you a little bit. And, you know, those percentages can be anywhere from, if you're really well known, I mean, you might get 50% of the new version. But if you're just starting out, I wouldn't expect to be getting a high percentage of it.
So let's say, my buddy Ill Factor started off, he was just doing remixes for Timbaland. Timbaland hired him to say, hey, remix all these different songs. So I'll have a lot of people, like right now, it really sucks because as acoustic artists are going on Instagram Live and Facebook Live doing their shows to please their audiences during this time that we're shut down, DJs don't have that same luxury because it's hard to get a license to go play somebody else's, even though you're playing around with it. A lot of them are getting muted. Do you know of a workaround or a place where a DJ could say, hey, I want to go license these 5 songs? Is there a place that you know? And I hate to put you on the spot like that, but that just came to my mind because somebody asked me that question the other day.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the platform you're on. Obviously, YouTube, you can't do it. They'll pull it down. it can be very cumbersome if you're dealing with big rights holders for, you know, songs that major labels own.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, I guess it's better to go find people that you can actually get in contact with. Because what's going to happen is, you know, like if we do a live event each month called Music and Money. It's a real estate group. And we use the Pink Floyd song Money in our feed. And you know, Facebook pulls it down because it says the rights holder for that song, whoever, David Gilmour, whoever it is,
Yep,
doesn't want anybody putting it up. And so I don't know, as far as Twitch goes, that comes to mind. As far as, I don't know if they're fingerprinting on the level that YouTube is yet.
got it.
But I know as far as DJs just wanting to go on and live stream, Twitch is the place they should be doing that.
I love that. Yeah, because right now, if you go on Facebook and Universal owns it, it's muted. It's getting shut down. So it's finding the right platform.
Well, and there's no discovery on Facebook either. It's if you're on Twitch, which there's a whole sub community that I'm learning about on this, that, you know, it's a gaming platform.
Right.
But musicians are figuring out how to make full-time livings just going on live Twitch and live streaming a few times a day. You can get donations on there. You can make affiliate off of there. They give you emotes on there, which they pay for. You literally pay for them. And as far as the fingerprinting goes, I would imagine it's probably a lot looser than Facebook or YouTube is. I can't speak to the legalities of that, but I'm definitely not.
Yeah, because you figure if a lot of these people are playing these games, a lot of these games have songs built into the games, and these people they're playing for hours. You can watch them kill people, you know, Fortnite and all that different kind of stuff that they're doing, you know. That'll be an interesting one to see, because I think that right now what I'm telling people is this: if you're going to do covers, throw them up on YouTube, because there's a monetization platform for the writers on that platform. If you're going to go on Facebook, do your original material. Establish yourself as an original artist, because people don't go on Facebook to see covers. They go to YouTube to see covers. What are some of the advice that you're giving your collaborators and your students right now when they can't physically get in the same room with their co-writers?
Yeah, you do what the whole town of Nashville and LA have been doing for the last few weeks, and you get on Zoom. You do what we're doing. You write on Zoom. I use and I can send you these, but I use a combination of Zoom. I use a program called Audio Movers that basically broadcasts real-time clean audio right out of Pro Tools or Logic or whatever your DAW is. It's pretty latency free. It's like barely latent at all. Like I literally just did a vocal tracking session with a girl in Dallas here right before this podcast, and it's full quality, no loss at all.
Great. We've been trying to find ways for bands who are in different places to do live, and there was always a delay someplace. And
the suggestion for that I'd give is called Jam Kazam.
Jam Kazam.
Yeah, Jam Kazam is an app that it's a little buggy still. It's new, but it compensates for the latency.
Okay.
So that you can jam and play with each other in different states or countries even.
Dude, that's awesome. That is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Song Chasers. I'm going to send everybody to my website, rickbarker.com/resources. You can watch this great, interview that Seth and I did together. And he actually created a track right there on his phone, which was pretty funny. I can't remember if I rapped at all, but I don't think
you should.
Yeah, I don't recall what it exactly was that I did, but I know that a lot of people are now realizing that instead, and I say this respectfully, but instead of going and taking a course at like Berkeley, where you can go take an online songwriting course, you guys have said, wait, why don't we create a course and let you hear from current, proven hit songwriters, which I think is so important. I think anyone could teach. I'm not saying anything against anyone who teaches, but I'm big on sending people to the folks that are actually doing this. Tell everyone a little bit about Song Chasers.
Yeah, thank you. And I would agree with that 100%. I mean, that's honestly why we created Song Chasers, which is a comprehensive commercial songwriting course, because we realized that a lot of the other books and even college classes, like you mentioned, and courses out there aren't actually that effective at it, because they're usually taught by two categories of people. The first category being people that are just, trying to look impressive or trying to position themselves on the internet as experts, even though they haven't done anything. Or category two being, which this is a lot of the case in the university system, where people that have had hits 20 years ago, and then they're teaching to pay the bills. I mean, again, it's not right or wrong. It just, you got to call it.
It's a reality. It's the reality. Yeah, it's reality. If you learn from a college right now, most of the time you're being taught theory. Unless you go to a trade school, then you're actually doing the trade. And I look at Song Chasers as more like a trade school versus a university course or something like that. It's more like, here's what's happening current, and we're able to update it because Seth lives, eats, and breathes. I mean, you still write songs every week, and you still produce records every week, and you still have, well, you don't have a hit every week. That'd be wonderful if you did, but you're still consistently having multiple number ones a year. So Song Chasers is just kind of a collaboration of everything that you know up to this point, with updates and direct access to you, pretty much, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's everything that I wish I would have known before getting into this crazy songwriting thing. And this is definitely not just for songwriters, it's for artists. It's for, newbie musicians who want to figure stuff out. It's for experienced musicians who want to figure stuff out. We include everything that you would ever need to know, and we made sure to not include the things that you don't need to know. So obviously things like inspiration and mindset, ideas for starting, melody, how to analyze other hit songs, lyric mastery, landing the whole song, putting it all together, the art of co-writing, producing great demos, and then even a publishing module that teaches you what to do after the song's finished.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how great it is if nobody hears it.
That's right. You've got to make it public. So that's why we call it publishing.
That's it. That is so funny. Well, listen, guys, if you go to rickbarker.com/resources, you'll be able to watch and you'll be able to get access. And Seth worked out a deal with me for the folks that find it through my space. What have you binge watched? Anything anything you want to tell people that they should see or should not see?
I'll start with kid friendly because I have a 5-year-old. The new Trolls movie.
All right.
Actually really good. Love me some of that soundtrack. Money Heist is a Netflix show.
I've seen that. I haven't watched it yet. Okay, Money Heist.
Really, really good. Really addictive.
Have you gotten into the Tiger King yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I thanks to your encouragement today, I think I'm going to go home and watch it. I've been doing a lot of reading. I think reading is what I've kind of done more of on the break. And
okay, but here's the thing. I told you, as soon as you get to church, they're going to ask you about things, and you have to be hip. I'm trying to keep you current. I'm trying to keep you current.
Yeah, I know. I got to watch Tiger King.
One of my clients is going to be featured in Prodigal Son, and I got hooked on Prodigal Son. So it's on Fox, guys. You can go back and watch it on demand. So I got hooked on that. My wife and I did the Tiger King. And I need to say, I'm excited that Songland's back. I'll go ahead and say it because when this airs, it will already be happened. But Peepo is one of my management clients, and he's was on the last episode number 2 of the season of Songland. So go by and check that out. And Ariana is going to be in Prodigal Son. But I am majorly bummed that Empire will come to an end at the recording of this on Wednesday. So if you want to go see what happens to Lucius and Cookie, Fox on Wednesday night. I was a part of American Idol when Empire started. So it used to be when the networks would, bring actors from their other shows to promote it during American Idol. So I got a chance to meet a lot of the Empire people, and I've been a huge fan of that show, and I love the music on that show, and it's coming to an end. So, man, I appreciate you as usual. You guys also, Seth has a great podcast. It's very educational. If you want to know about A&R, and if you want to know about sync placements and all the different things in the industry for different managers. Because of the success that he's had, he has access to people that even I don't have access to. And they've been kind enough to come in and let him ask them whatever they want. I learned so much from his podcast, and you guys need to go check it out. Make It a Music Podcast. I'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes, and you guys will go find out about how to become hit songwriters by going to my website, and you're going to go watch the Tiger King, and we will catch up sooner rather than later. Thank you to Stacy and your crew. They sent me I saw an Instagram thing that went out the other day that said they were doing their weekly book study on my book. And I was just like, how bored are these people during quarantine?
No, man, like I said, we're huge Rick Barker fans over here. We love that you don't give people hype, you don't give people fluff. I mean, you tell people what they're really going to have to do to make it music, and that's something we support.
Well, dude, I appreciate you so much. Be safe, and we'll talk again sooner rather than later.
Yeah, thanks, Rick.